Module 1, Inheritance, the Early Theories. Inheritance is defined as a quality, characteristic, or other immaterial possession received from progenitors or predecessors as if by succession. It's also defined as the reception of genetic qualities by transmission from parents to offspring. Many traits and behaviors aggregate in families. Things like athletic prowess, musical ability, and political acumen are often found to be similar among the members of a family. But which of these traits are driven by environment and which by biology? In terms of inheritance, facial structure is among the most highly heritable traits, as can be seen from these photos of famous families. Despite the complexity of facial formation, the faces of children are reliably a blend of the structures of both parents' faces. As you can see here, the similarity between the chins of mom and daughter, and even between the eyebrows of dad and daughter. So why are traits similar within families? The underlying cause of the familial similarity has been a source of curiosity since the time of Pythagoras. And not surprisingly, in this male-oriented world, early theories focused on the contribution of the father. As early as 530 BC, Pythagoras hypothesized that male semen carried all the instructions for creating a human body. In fact, he hypothesized that semen flowed throughout the body, picking up instructions for making all the body parts that it came into contact with. In this scenario, the father provided all the information for forming the fetus, and the mother simply provided nourishment in the form of her womb. Followers of Pythagoras were obsessed with mathematical balance and triangular harmony, and it made sense that father, mother, and child would form a union similar to the structure of a triangle. And similar to the manner in which the third side of a right triangle can be deduced from the other two sides, so was a child derived from its parents. The wise Aristotle pointed out many inconsistencies in Pythagoras' theory about how children inherit traits from their parents. For example, how would sperm get information to form female body parts? Why do some children resemble their mothers and not their fathers? How would traits like mental acuity or behaviors like the propensity to be physically active, which have been observed to be similar within families, be transferred from sperm? Aristotle proposed a striking alternative, that father's sperm provided information and mother's womb provided form. Specifically, Aristotle proposed that a fetus was created from mother's menstrual blood, which of course disappears during pregnancy, and was formed based on the information provided in father's sperm, much the same way that a lump of clay can be transformed into a vase through the manipulations and instructions of the sculptor. Interestingly, Aristotle was correct at some level. Inheritance does, in fact, require the transmission of biological information from one generation to the next. But how that information is actually encoded and transferred was still a mystery. In contrast to theories about heritable information came theories of human preformation. The theory of preformation is based on the belief that a fetus is formed from a sperm cell that actually contains inside it a fully formed mini-human, or homunculus as it was called. The homunculus simply needed to expand and grow to become a mature human being. Scientists actually looked at sperm cells under the microscope and believed they could see these small creatures. In fact, this theory persisted through the early 1900s, even as more advanced theories about the molecular structure of cells were being developed. In fact, the logical extension of this idea was that since the homunculus contained all cells needed to grow and reproduce, including sperm, there were actually homunculi inside him and homunculi inside the homunculi, dating back to infinity. Although long since disproven, this idea has been revisited in the context of epigenetics, which we'll discuss in Module 9. Meanwhile, more thoughtful and reasonable ideas were being formed. In the 1800s, the work of two of the greatest minds in science, Charles Darwin and Gregor Mendel, formed the basis of modern genetics and evolution. Through careful observation and without any knowledge of chromosomes or DNA, the two men formulated ideas about how heritable information is transmitted and how that information may be modified by the environment to influence the process of mutation and evolution. Charles Darwin's work was focused on observing and cataloging a variety of botanical and animal species. Mendel's work was involved in carefully cultivating and manipulating plant breeding to determine how traits are passed from parents to offspring. In the videos to follow, you will learn more about the work of both and how they formed the foundation for our current ideas about how genetic variation arises and how genes might be influenced by environmental forces, including diet.